there are three pillars to emotional integration. There's inquiry, and inquiry is, where are you now? What's working? What's not working? How are you responding? What are the old patterns that are reliving themselves over and over again? Because once we can get clear about those, then we can start to look at introspection, which is the second one. And so the process is, sometimes there's guided meditations. Sometimes there's always homework, something that I invite the client to do to anchor what we've worked on. And it's like looking at those fragments from all of those different places in inquiry, and really using the body to talk to us, because the body has language. It's a messenger. So teaching the client how to listen to the messages that are coming from those places that are disconnected, and then reconnecting them. So the mind and the heart and the body are all connected. And then the third step is integration, because they start practicing in the introspection with me guiding. But my job, I tell them, my job is to get you not to need me, to have your own toolkit where you can manage stuff, and you can always come back to me. But integrating these tools with your heart's desires and the purpose that's encoded in you will take you to a whole nother level of expression.
Have you ever felt like you understand your patterns, but your body hasn't got the message yet? You've done talking, you've had insights and awareness, and still stress lives in your chest, emotions are stuck, and your nervous system won't quite settle. That's because healing doesn't happen in the mind alone. It happens when the body feels safe enough to release. Welcome to Energy Medicine. I'm Dr. Mary, a chiropractor and medical intuitive. And today's conversation is for anyone who wants healing that feels real, practical, and empowering. Tools you can actually use in your daily life to reduce stress, restore balance, and connect with yourself. I'm joined today with Cynthia James, an expert in emotional integration counseling, a powerful mind-body approach that helps integrate emotions where they truly live, in the nervous system and in the body. Together, we'll explore how emotional integration works, why traditional talk therapy often falls short, and how you can begin clearing and regulating and creating inner safety within your own physical body. So let's dive in.
Spiritual intuition, their inner guidance, because we all have it. But a lot of us are enculturated to move all that out and just listen to the intellect and do what seems rational. But what I want people to know is that when you can begin to listen to that intuitive knowing, to that inner guidance, then it won't take you necessarily down the rational path, but it will take you down the path of transformation and healing.
So true. I don't think our culture really honors intuition like some other cultures do. I do think that, women, as we are aging and we are stepping into the age of acquired awareness and wisdom, that you get to lean into that intuitive knowing of all the information that you can access to you is available at any given time for your own healing journey and for the support of others.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I really believe that we're all on the planet by design. This is not an accident that we're all here. And we all come with things to heal, transform, explore. I tell my clients sometimes, you're in the greatest graduate school of life. And so you get to explore this gift of being human. Mm-hmm. With the good news and the interesting news, you get to explore it and then find out how do you thrive and flourish in this time of your life being here. Because you have gifts, you're unrepeatable, you're powerful, you're dynamic. How do you access that beyond circumstances?
I think it would be interesting to hear a little bit about your story, Cynthia, because obviously, if you were drawn into spiritual counseling, that life may have had its own bumpy path for you in order for you to seek out, to find your own source, or a source that's greater than and exists outside of yourself as well.
Oh, yeah. So I entered the planet in a bumpy family. 5 generations of women who had been abused and traumatized. My biological father was an alcoholic and left pretty early after I was born. My stepfather was a violent man who was a wife beater, and he was also a pedophile. And so all this was happening to me, like between 5 and 6 and 7. And so my mother was so terrified, because that was a time when women didn't think they had independence. They didn't know how to take care of themselves. And so she was terrified that if she left, then how are we going to survive, right? Until I don't even know what woke her up at some point, but I think she realized that we were both in serious danger, and she got my uncle to come in a 1-hour window, put all of our stuff in sheets, and take us to our grandmother's. I didn't remember all of this. I mean, it took a lot of therapy and stuff for these things to come back, because I was really disassociated. But what I realized was that in the middle of all this, even though I couldn't describe it, there was some kind of spirit, angel, God, something telling me I was going to be okay. And so I created kind of my own fantasy world of survival that was about creativity. And so when I got to be able to go to school and to start learning some of these things, I thought, oh, that inner awareness was letting me know that I was taken care of. And if I could support other people and tapping into that same energy and frequency, well, it could be a game changer.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry you had to go through that. However, I do believe that people during those children in those formative years, if they are in an environment in which is not safe, whether it be physical safety, emotional safety, they have a tendency energetically to leave the body, right? Because if their human home is not safe, then they've got to seek refuge in some place that is safe. And so that spiritual realm, connecting with your angels, your guides, your higher power, that created a safety for you that allowed you, obviously, to live through those experiences and come back and to hold space for other people to do it. So that all resonates with me, Cynthia, your story and how you ended up in this life path. I'm so glad that you followed your higher powers, your guidance, your spirits, your angels, because they led you down the right path. And I'm very thankful that they created an element of safety for you.
Thank you. It's very interesting because, I wrote a book called Does My Voice Matter? And it chronicled my decades on the planet and what I was learning in each decade. So it was a circuitous route to kind of get to here. It's what got me through high school and college and travel, because it allowed me to, how do I want to say this, envision a life that wasn't the life I was living.
That allowed you to step into your creativity, didn't it?
Well, yeah, and trust it.
Yeah.
To trust that these gifts that I was given.
Before we continue with Cynthia, I want to take a moment and speak directly to you. If something in this episode is resonating with you, if you're feeling the call to heal in a way that's deeper, more embodied, and truly aligned, I feel confident that both Cynthia and I would be able to support you. My life's purpose is to help you align with your true self, embracing your wholeness and in transforming your physical, emotional, and energetic well-being. through an integrative healing approach that blends the intuitive power of energy medicine with the proven tools of positive psychology. We work together to release what no longer serves you in present time, so you can cultivate balance, clarity, and deeply grounded embodiment of self. If you're ready to explore what could look like for you, I invite you to schedule a complimentary discovery call with me or to reach out to Cynthia on her website. You'll find the link in the show notes, and the QR code will be shared at the end of the episode. Now, let's return to today's conversation.
Could allow me to express in ways that did not match the kind of environments that I was in, but it allowed me to. I mean, I sang and I was in the choir at school. I mean, I danced. I wrote. I mean, it allowed me to step outside of that place that could have defined me, and instead it opened a space for me to be able to say what if.
So correct me if I'm wrong, in your work, how you show up to be of service for others, you're holding space not only for the emotional integration, doing the counseling one-on-one, you also work with groups, and you also do retreats, and you also support other people with their creative pursuits. So I know that you've written a few books, and you do retreats and holding space for women to come together to either fine tune or to create or to envision a book within themselves. So can you share with us, I know you outlined these 3 steps for the emotional integration. Can you share with us how you bleed that technique over into the various different facets of your business?
Yeah, so let's just start with inquiry, because there's the looking at what's working, what's not, what's happening. But in the inquiry, it's also looking at, well, who am I? What are my gifts? What are my passion points? What do I want to express? Even if I don't know how to get there, what are they? Because then when we go into introspection, then we start looking at, well, how do we open the portal for those desires, for those dreams, for those visions? And then what needs to be moved out of the way so that we can allow those things to blossom and flourish. And then the integration begins to, like I do these retreats for women who want to write a book. And, prior to 2026, I was doing it online, and women would come in and we would do things to help them. Some people want to do a memoir, some people want to do a self-help book. But in 2026, I'm going to be doing a 5-day in person, because there's something powerful about community, but there's also something powerful about sharing our stories where other people can lift us and hold us. And so it can be a little scary, but it's like, well, I have this vision of telling this story about this. I helped a woman last year who wrote a memoir about her whole adoptive experience and the changes that it made in her life. So I just think our stories are important. So this process can help people identify their stories. I did a TED talk called "The Past Does Not Define Us." And it's just to let people know that, yeah, where you came from, it's real. It's not going away. But you get to decide how you want to move forward. You get to decide what gifts you want to bring. You get to decide how you want to show up and who you want to invite into your world.
So I can't help but to think that in positive psychology, you're using in step 1 the inquiry. In positive psychology, they say the appreciative inquiry. And so being able to look and to analyze through the lens of what is working well, what skills, what resources, what talents do you naturally have that you can maximize and lean into. Because when we start to do the inquiry process, it's human nature to start going down, what's not working well and what's not serving us. So it sounds like you're flipping the lens from a positive psychology viewpoint and from a spiritual psychology, and allowing people to really dig into some of their strengths. And their strengths most often can be found in the stories that they tell.
Absolutely. Well, and you know what? Letting people understand that they're not alone,
Mm.
and what they've been through is important because it brought them to the moment that they are. And if they can learn to navigate the emotional responses so that they can start to make choices for their health and their well-being and their wholeness, well, then there's a myriad of ways in which that can show up.
So true. Can you share with us what a typical session would look like as you're working through these various different steps?
Yeah. So if I'm working one-on-one, then I always start with a centering. Some people want a blessing, or some people want a prayer, and then we talk about where are you in this moment. And so that's the inquiry. If they're new, I mean, then we really are talking about, okay, there's always an intention setting. What's your intention for this work? And then let's talk about where you are right now, what's working and what's not in that place. And so part of the introspection part is there are guided meditations. I have a number of them that were developed to help people begin to navigate the body, because the body is always talking to you before your mind. And so so when, let's say that there's an issue, it's like, okay, where in your body is it constricted? Where is it tight? And then let's use that part of the body as a portal to take you back, because it was birthed somewhere. And when you keep having experiences that mirror, it's because it wants to heal, it wants to transform, it wants to take you to a higher level. And so these different techniques take people into aspects of their body, and we learn to listen to it, to have a conversation. Because I don't think really anything in the body is ever against you. I think you learn to embrace it, understand it. You can also move into partnership and collaboration with it for your own health and well-being. So that's all of the introspection. And then the integration would be, okay, tell me what worked for you today. This is your homework. This is the affirmations you're going to use. This is the meditative processes you're going to use. This is the journaling thing that you're going to do. And then we're going to come back and see where you are in our next session, and where can we go deeper.
I like that. And so typically, how many sessions does the person come back to revisit and to go deeper into what it is that they're looking to unveil, uncover, heal?
I ask people to do 6 sessions with me. When I first started, I didn't. People would come, and then they get a little better, and then they go off, and then they'd be back. And I was like, okay, we're not going deep enough. We're doing Band-Aids. So in 6 sessions, and people do more than that sometimes, but in the 6 sessions, we can really tap into the places that can support that intention that they set, and how they can move forward in healthy and constructive ways.
Yeah. And then what happens? I'm assuming that you've had this experience where you may be supporting another person where they truly believe that their physical body has betrayed them, meaning
Yes.
that it just not showed up for them this lifetime. How do you, and then, how do you then create the environment to where there's safety for people to listen to their body? Because these individuals, it's my experience, is that they have a really hard time connecting into the somatic awareness of their physical body.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. What I tell people is that their relationship totally depends on their willingness to be connected. And yes, I have people right now going through cancer and different things that I work with, and they feel really upset because they thought they've done all the right things. And so what we're talking about is, okay, you cannot argue with reality. I think Byron Katie says that. You can't argue with reality, but you can be with it, and you can make choices as to how you want to support your health and your well-being. And some of that, I, journaling is a really powerful thing that has really helped some of my clients. Because it's like a man named Penny Baker, who was a professor in Austin, wrote a book on Right to Heal, and he talked about the fact that giving people the ability to write the feelings and the desires really can be a powerful thing. And so, Mike, we do that. Like, it's like, okay, first of all, let's write a letter to that pain, that dis-ease, and you get to say it any way you want. And so the letters are very interesting when they come back, but it's like, okay, we got that. So now let's learn how to talk to that part. A lot of times what those parts will tell them is that they're to protect them, that they're there to support them, that they're to help them wake up. And so then we can explore, okay, what do we need to do in this moment? Because you've got the healers, you've got the doctors, you've got the medicine, you've got all that there. But what do we need to do to support you in taking care of yourself in this moment as you navigate this thing that is highly uncomfortable and that is scary?
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that somewhere along the lines, if somebody has created a protective mechanism, as a direct result of their condition in a certain environment at a certain time, that may no longer serve them. It may have once served them as far as a protective mechanism. Now it may not be the case. So I'm assuming that through the journaling and through the counseling and through the awareness, that's a big aha for a lot of people. So that would be a pretty transformative moment, an aha moment, or more than an aha moment.
Yeah.
Cynthia, for those listeners who are really resonating with our conversation today, and then they're thinking to themselves, I'm not sure that what I'm dealing with, if Cynthia, they enjoy you and they connect with your frequency and your vibration and they like you. But for those that are wondering if what they're dealing with is right for the emotional integration technique, how does somebody know that the emotional technique is the right place for them to be?
Well, the first thing I would say is it's good to question. It's always good to question to see if something's a fit. But here's the other part. If you have patterns, behaviors, relational challenges that occur over and over and over, you are being hijacked by emotions. And so let's go in and find out how to disconnect those cords. Emotions are a really good thing. I mean, they help us know we're loving. They help us know, feelings and all of those things. But when it comes to the point that the fears and the doubts and the old ways of being are hijacking us through our emotions, then that's where we feel stuck. That's where we feel like hopeless sometimes or helpless sometimes. So I feel that people who are ready to look at those areas of their life and to just really no longer allow the emotions to sabotage their lives, then I could be the right person for them.
I'm so glad I asked that question. And it's essentially, ladies, listeners, it's when you're pulling your hair out and saying, why? I know better. I've been through this before. So it's those moments when you say, maybe the emotions are the foundation as to what I'm dealing with. So I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. And listeners, all of Cynthia's contact information is going to be found in the show notes. You have all that at your fingertips. I invite you to reach out to her. Again, her website is a beautiful place, a landing spot to learn more about Cynthia personally, and also the services and the offering that she has to support others in. So I just want to say before we come to a close that Cynthia, I honor you and how you're showing up in the world. Thank you for being uniquely you.
Oh, thank you, Mary. I feel the same about you. Such a pleasure to be with you, to see the work you're doing in the world. I'm very grateful to walk this path with you.
Oh, thank you. So, the listeners, if this conversation truly resonated with you and your curiosity has been piqued, just know that your healing journey isn't about fixing what is broken. You all come from a place of wholeness. And so, what Cynthia and I are holding space for you is that you go reclaim those pieces and parts of you that do make up your whole being. So that's the invitation today. The emotional integration is a practice of presence and of safety and of awareness. And so it can only be supportive for you in your transformative healing journey. So thank you for sharing your time, your energy with us. Thank you for exploring additional possibilities for your healing as well. So my invitation for you is to stay clear, connected, and embodied. And until next time, be well.